Hi, I'm Katie. I'm the shelter manager, and I'm going to show you today how to clean a dog kennel. So just the basics that we're going to start out with is going to be a squeegee, a scrub brush, and then a bucket, and we're going to make kennel salt, which is a disinfectant, which we're going to be using to clean, so I'll show you how to make that.
Do you only use that to clean?
Yes, yep, so kennel salt is the only thing that we use in our dog kennels, and then we rinse it out with water, but kennel salt is the only thing that you will be using for all dog kennels.
And why is that? Is it just the best, it's safe for the dogs, I would admit?
Yeah, so kennel salt is specifically made for animals. It's specifically made for shelters, so it is the best product to use. It's safe for all animals. It's just better smelling, it's better than bleach. It's just, again, overall safe, so if there is like any, like residue that's left on the kennels, it's not going to harm the animals. And again, it's made specifically for shelters for this purpose. Alright, so this is where all of our kennel salt buckets are, so you can just grab one of them. And then you're going to come over here to this sink. It does show you exactly the mixture for kennel salt. So for a full bucket, we're going to do 2 full pumps. This is the kennel salt right here. So again, you're just going to do 2 pumps. 1, 2. Just wait a couple of minutes because it drips out. And then you can pour it right into the bucket. And we'll use this hose to fill it up.
And is it better to fill the whole bucket? So because 2 pumps are for the whole bucket.
For the whole bucket. So yeah, so you don't have to go overflowing, but just so it's pretty full, and it does bubble up. Alright, so we're going to start by opening the kennel door. Usually the kennels well, I guess it depends on the dogs. A lot of the times the kennels are usually pretty dirty and they're gross, so we want to make sure that they're nice and clean for all of our dogs. So we're going to go in and we're going to take out if there's any treats left or any bowls of food. It is really important to make sure that the bowls of food are taken out, just because a lot of times if the dogs don't eat their food, you can tell staff, or if they, if they don't eat in the morning, they're usually not going to eat throughout the day. So just take all the bowls out, and we'll also take all the toys out as well.
And this is the cleaning for the morning shift.
Yes,
correct.
This is for the morning. So we just want to make sure that everything comes out. And for the bedding, the best thing to do is just take a look at it. If the bedding is really gross, like this has stains on it, we're not going to reuse this.
Right, so it's like you wouldn't use a blanket or a bed that you yourself wouldn't sit on.
Yes, yep. If you, sometimes we do have dogs that are very clean, so if the bed or the blanket looks like it's in, decent shape, then we will reuse it just to kind of, not have a ton of laundry. But again, we want it to be clean over convenience.
And even if you reuse it, you take it out and you shake it like you.
Yes.
Everything gets taken out.
Yes. Yep. And we do, a full cleaning every morning just so every dog has a fresh kennel. So this side is all done with everything being taken out, and you want to make sure that everything throughout all the kennels. So this specific kennel is 3 pieces. So we want to make sure that we go through everything and take everything out, even including the water, because we do want to redo the water for them so that they have nice, fresh, and clean water.
And is it important to do the water every single day because of when the dog drinks out of it, all the slobber and everything goes in it?
Yep. Every single morning they should be getting clean water bowls and clean water. So it doesn't matter if it looks like they didn't touch it, just do it to be on the safe side. So same with this one. These look pretty dirty, so I'm just going to take everything out. And now we just have a plain kennel with no blankets, no beds, and just the Kuranda beds. And now we're going to go into how to clean each kennel. So this is the kennel salt that we just made. So you're going to grab your scrub brush and you're going to grab your kennel salt. And what you're going to do do is you're just gonna put your brush in the kennel stall, and we want to make sure that the whole kennel is being cleaned. We don't want to just do the floors. We want to make sure that every piece of the kennel is clean. So what we'll do, also make sure you look at the beds because there's trees underneath that one. So to make sure that everything comes out.
Well, and every time if there's a coranda bed in there, is it important to check to make sure like there's no screws loose or make sure nothing's
Yeah, definitely. So just make sure that everything's in good shape. Obviously a dog chewed this, that's fine, it still works, and we put blankets over it anyways. But take it out. If the coranda bed is really dirty, that's definitely something that you want to clean as well. But we're gonna just start with the kennel. So you're just gonna kind of throw some of the kennel salt in. And you're just gonna scrub the floors like this. Make sure you get every piece of it. It's gonna be loud, that's okay.
Well, it's not as loud as if there was a dog in here.
Exactly. Another important thing to get is make sure that this little middle section where the guillotine door gets cleaned, that often gets overlooked, but they're walking in and out of there, so it gets extremely dirty. And I will do the sides right here as well.
And I mean, it's important because, like you said, they're walking in between, and as we know, dogs walk on everything, and we don't know what's on their paws.
Exactly. And then what we also want to do is, obviously kind of depending on the size of the dog, there's 2 large huskies in this one. So we want to make sure that the walls are clean as well. So we'll just go through and you can use the same scrub brush and go through and make sure that all the walls are nice and clean.
And now how high up on the wall should you go?
Honestly,
depending on, like you said, depending on the size of the dog.
I mean, you can see over here that this is really dirty because the huskies jump up constantly. So like that, with huskies, they're big dogs, so you're gonna go ahead and kind of go a little bit higher. And just make sure that gets all cleaned. You also want to make sure that you get the metal pieces, everything. So you want to make sure that everything gets done.
Because like you said, the paws touch everything,
Yep.
So everything that the paws are touching should be scrubbed every day.
And we're going to do the bottom here because again,
because they jump up on that.
And they jump on it.
And if you're not sure, you just can go as high as you want.
Exactly. Like it's, obviously the higher the better for, all dogs. I'll do the inside and I will also do the outside just because it's an extra layer that we're using. So now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and rinse it out. So all of our hose is right here. So what we'll do is we'll just turn on the hose.
And I know this is the room that we call the receiving room, but in the adoption room, it's done exactly the same way, and there's hoses in there also.
Yes, there's 2 hoses in the dog adoption room, and there are buckets in there, scrub brushes, they have everything that you need in that one room. So now we're just gonna go ahead and spray everything down.
And I mean, does it matter if you use the hot water or the cold water?
It doesn't matter. Just make sure that you spray everything that you...
Put the kennel salt on,
Yep.
right?
And like for this, we'll go ahead and we'll just spray down the door, maybe the outside.
And now I see like there's like a little lip underneath the door.
Yep.
How would somebody cleaning the kennel get under there?
So the best thing is just to obviously scrub. You can still use the scrub brush and scrub underneath there. After we rinse, we're gonna squeegee, and then the best thing to do is to, honestly, after you squeegee, is to take a paper towel and just put it right underneath, just so that you have any, extra dirt or hair or anything that goes underneath. And we can, again, do that after we do squeegeeing. You're gonna probably get water out in the hallway, and that's good because we also wanna make sure that we are cleaning the hallway where the dogs come in and out. Because not only are the dogs coming in and out, but we have people in here all the time, so it's just important to make sure that the floors are getting cleaned. So it's okay if there's water. You're just gonna go ahead and wash the floor.
And is it okay, like, should you do the floor kennel by kennel, or can you just do it all at once at the
You can
end?
do it all at once at the end,
Whichever
whatever
way,
works.
as
Yep.
long as it's done. And
Yep.
it should be done every single day.
Yep. And it really doesn't matter whether you do it each kennel or you do it all together, kind of whatever works for you. That's the only thing that I think can kind of go by person's preference. But same thing, after you do that, you're just going to go ahead and rinse it. And there are drains, that's what's right here, so it's okay to get the floor wet. And now, we're gonna turn off the hose and we're gonna squeegee it. So one nice thing about the squeegee is you can also squeegee the walls. So I always start with the walls because the water drips down. So you just literally go along the edge.
And in case you don't know what a squeegee is, this is what a squeegee is.
Squeegee.
Sometimes people don't like it. I mean, if you've never used one, you wouldn't know.
100. I never used one until I started working here. So you just want to make sure that you get everything. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll squeegee it all to the front. Put a little bit of pressure on the squeegee. If you're just kind of going like this, it's not going to pick anything up. So make sure you put a little bit of pressure on it. And you want to make sure you get the whole entire kennel. And again, it's okay if it's loud, it's going to be loud. And now what I'll do is I'm just going to squeegee the rest of the floor.
And you're just trying to squeegee it closer to the drain, right? A little
Yep,
bit.
so it's all going to push right to the drain. It's okay if there's hair and dirt. We're going to push it right to the drain. And then what we can do is up on the shelf, there are usually always poop bags and there's paper towels. If a dog does poop in the kennel, you are going to use a poop bag first to pick it up, and then you'll go in and squeegee it. Sometimes, you know, poop gets stuck in places, so the best thing to do is you can put the kennel salt on it and just leave it for like 5 minutes, so that you're not sitting there like relentlessly scrubbing and it's not coming off. But if it is like, if they just pooped, you can just pick it up really quick and then scrub that.
And I do see that there's rubber gloves.
Yeah, there are gloves here, so you're more than welcome to use gloves. And we usually always have paper towels, gloves, poop bags, treats and stuff like that. So now, because we just squeegeed everything, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna put our hands underneath to make sure that all the dirt and the hair is kind of coming up. And I like to go over the drain as well because, you know, the drain is gonna have water go through it, but it's not gonna have hair go through it. So we just wanna make sure that that's all picked up. So now that that's done, what we can do is we can move and put the kennels back together. For the Coranda beds, again, if they look clean, you can put them back in. If not, there is always a bottle here with chlorhexidine, it's blue, and you just want to spray it down.
And now that's chlorhexidine,
Chlorhexidine.
and that's different from the kennel salt.
Yep, so we really only use that for these. You can use kennel salt on this as well, it really doesn't matter. But just you have to make sure that you just wipe it down fully. If it's really dirty, you know, if it's not bad, it's you know, completely fine to put in, especially if we have like a brand new dog that just went in there. But I just like to make sure that everything's extra clean. I'd rather it be extra clean than not at all. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the Coranda bed back in.
And now, does every dog get a Coranda bed?
No. You'll notice that some kennels have Coranda beds, some kennels don't. It just depends on the dog's preference, and it also kind of depends on what we just kind of throw in there. If we know that we're getting a dog in, sometimes we'll just make a bed out of blankets, or we'll grab a bed. But sometimes we will use Coranda beds. It kind of just depends.
And one of the things is to just pay attention to what's in there when you take it out.
Yep. Like you can reuse, obviously the Coranda beds. When you have large dogs or 2 dogs in a kennel, so for instance, these guys are getting groomed. But when you do have 2 dogs, you'll notice that there's multiple Coranda beds. So just make sure that when you take it out, you're putting back whatever you took out of that kennel, just so that we're not mixing things around to other dogs. But so the Kuranda bed's in there now. So now what we're gonna do is on this shelf, you're gonna have beds, toys, and blankets. Looks like we don't have any more blankets, so if that happens, we will just go out to the front or we'll go out to the garage and grab some. Okay, so now that we have our blankets, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna place them on the Kuranda bed. You can fold them up so that they look nice and pretty and cozy. For Kuranda beds, it kind of depends on the dog, but sometimes I'll just put one blanket down. Sometimes I'll feel it and I kind of want it to be extra cozy for the dog. So sometimes I will go ahead and put a second blanket over it again, just so that it has a little extra cushion to it.
Well, and it's just like when a dog first comes in, the staff usually sets up the kennels. So it's important that you, as you're cleaning the next day as a volunteer or as anybody, that you put exactly the same stuff that the staff have put in there, and it's in there for a reason.
Yes, yeah. You want to make sure that the dogs, you don't want to use like 6 blankets in one kennel because obviously that's a waste of laundry. But you do want to make sure that it's nice and comfortable for the dog, whether or not it's, a bed or just blankets. You just want to make sure that they're comfortable because, again, this is where they're sleeping. This is where they're, hanging out during the day. So the more comfy that we can make it, the better. So for, this one, we just did 2 blankets just because I think it's comfier for them. And what we'll do is we'll go
and
over
because
here.
the Huskies have been here for a couple of days, so you like the staff and the staff and volunteers get to know them, but the staff knows what they kind of like a little bit more.
Yeah. So over here we have a bunch of toys as well. But what I like to do is I'll go back to my pile of toys that he already had, and you'll notice that like this is an old Kong, so we're obviously not going to put that back in because that's dirty. And it kind of looks like this one's dirty too. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll just, if they're really dirty and they're gross, we will not use them. But if it looks like a fairly new toy that was just recently put in there, then we'll keep it. So like this one looks pretty clean.
And it maybe when you look into the toys, you can see what they actually like.
Exactly. Yep. And then we'll
so
go
you know
through
what to
here.
replace it with.
Exactly. I like to give everybody a couple of stuffies, and then I also like to give everybody like something to chew on, whether it's just like these like nylon bones or it's like a ball of some sort, just so that they have a couple options. Some dogs don't touch it, some dogs do. It just kind of depends. But I'd rather give them options so that they do have something.
And it's okay if the dog tears up the stuffy because
okay.
we have plenty, right? And like
dogs do,
we have plenty, so it's okay. So give them a stuffy.
Yeah, definitely. Unless we have these little whiteboards. Unless there's notes on this whiteboard that says no stuffies or keep all my stuff, this is definitely the first thing that you kind of want to look at, just to see if there are any notes. Usually we will tell our volunteers what, should be, if there's any, interesting things that they need to know when they first come in, but this is definitely a good place to look first just to see who you're cleaning, any of their history, like how old they are, and also like any notes. With that being said, we don't have any dogs in here right now, but we do usually have dogs in the kennels while you're cleaning them. So what we use is we use guillotine doors. So you just look and you're like, okay, I have a husky in here. I need to clean this side of the kennel. So you're gonna try to move them over here. Usually you can just get their attention if you walk over here and they'll walk over. And what you'll do is you'll take a look at the guillotine door and see which handle goes to which door. Because these are somewhat new kennels, we actually only have one guillotine door, and that's completely fine. So what we'll do is we'll pull this down, and the guillotine door will shut, and it'll keep them on that side, just while you're cleaning. So that's definitely a really good tool to use when you do have one or multiple dogs in a kennel. So now kind of going back to their, their bed, some volunteers, like to kind of leave like a little treat on their bed, which is definitely fine. We will tell you if certain dogs can't have certain things, but it's kind of like a little hotel where they get a little treat on
like
their
a little mint on their pillow. I love it.
Sometimes we'll leave a little couple of treats right there.
But like you said, if the staff knows that they're allergic to something, it'll be on the whiteboard.
Yes, we'll let you know, and it's always usually written on the whiteboard. And also another thing is if you ever have any questions or concerns, always come and grab a staff member. We'd rather know more than less. So something that you might think is a stupid question or a stupid comment is really not. Anything is useful for us. If sometimes dogs are really stressed and they'll have, blood in their feces, that's something that we definitely want to know so that we can track it. So again, there are absolutely no stupid questions or concerns. We'd rather know more than less. So because this is the side where his water bottle was on, or his water bowl, I should say, we're going to go ahead and clean out his bowl and give him fresh water.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're just going to dump out the water. And because this bowl is going right back in with the same dog, we'll just reuse this. So what we'll do is we'll just grab a sponge and put a little bit of soap on it, nothing crazy. Put some water. And we're just going to wash it out just like any other dish that you wash out. And what we'll do now is we will go over and we're just going to rinse it all out, make sure that it is thoroughly rinsed. You want to make sure that all the soap is completely out of it. Okay, so now that that's done, we can kind of come over here. We usually have towels here. If you need a new towel, just go right behind you and grab one right here. And, although we're putting water back in it, I do like to dry out the inside, just for my own peace of mind. If the water is not going back to the same dog, if that dog got adopted, we would then rinse it and put it in the bleach. But because this is going to go back to the same dogs, we're going to go ahead and just refill it with water. If we have a new dog that comes in that needs a fresh water bucket, all of our dog water buckets are right underneath here. We have different sizes for different sizes of dogs. And almost all water buckets have these little clips on. If they don't have these little clips on, we do have a bunch up here. And sometimes they're already in the kennel. If for some reason you have any issues with finding a clip, you can just go ask a staff member and we can definitely help you out.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
What if it's a small dog and those buckets are just too big and they can't reach?
So if you have like a really tiny dog, the best water bucket or bowl is to actually use one of these. So you don't want to use just like a bowl like this because not only is that too small, but it's just going to move around. This is more stable, so you want to make sure that you grab one of these. And they're always on this side, so there's always a bunch here that you can just grab from. But this is definitely the best thing to use if you have like a very small dog, or you have multiple dogs in one kennel. Sometimes you can put multiple waters in a kennel as well. So that's definitely a really good question.
Oh, thank you.
So now we're going to just refill this and then we'll bring it right back in. So now that you refilled the water, we're just going to go ahead and you can clip it on depending on the size of the dog. If we have like a Great Dane, you're going to put the water a little bit higher, but you can really clip it wherever as long as it's not so low that it hits the bar. So for this is good, and we'll go ahead. When you're closing the dog kennels, you want to just make sure that this is latched, so you want to make sure that goes down. If this clip is on the kennel, you want to make sure that you take this clip and you're just going to put it right through this hole. That way the dogs don't escape and run around the dog adoption room or dog receiving room. So that's definitely very important. If there is no clip, then usually it's fine. But if there is a clip, we want to make sure that they get clipped because they're either an escape artist or
kind of like a husky.
So that's definitely a really important thing as well. So now that we have that all set up, basically you would just kind of repeat exactly those steps for the other kennels. So you would just open this up.
And you want to make sure that once all the cleaning is done, all the guillotines are open.
Yes, yep. So that's one really big thing that we need to make sure happens, because obviously, if you're in the groove and you're cleaning everything and you just like, okay, I'm done, I'm good.
It could be a ton of dogs.
Yeah, exactly. And it happens. It definitely happens. It's just very important to kind of go back and make sure that all the guillotines doors are open so that the dogs have access to, beds and waters and all that fun stuff. One thing that we do like to mention to all of our volunteers is that we will have one side that has, blanket, bed, and water. We usually always keep one side. This is 3 kennels, but usually it's just 2. So we do like to make sure that, like, for instance, this side isn't cleaned yet. But when it is, we'll leave this completely open so that if they do need to use the bathroom overnight, they are not, don't feel like they need to go to the bathroom on their blanket or right next to where they're eating. So it is important if you have just 2 kennels that one side is, water, food, beds, blankets, toys, and then the other side is just clear. So if they do feel like they don't want to go to the bathroom right next to their bed, they have that option as well.
So when you say open and clear, that means that there's absolutely nothing in that side.
Yeah. So there's no blankets, there's no beds. Obviously in this case where there's 3 kennels, which is not, we only have 2 kennels like this. Where there's 3 kennels all together, we'll do 2 cubes will have a bed and blanket, and then 1 cube will be empty. But usually in a normal kennel that we have, one side will be bed, blanket, food, water. The other side will be used if they do need to use the bathroom.
Can you show us just a regular kennel?
Yeah.
Just so that...
Yep, so this would be a regular kennel. So it has 2 sides. This one, the guillotine door is shut in this kennel, but it has the exact same thing on the other side. So for this, we would make sure that the beds and blankets and everything is on this side, and then on the other side, we would make sure that, it's just clear. One big thing that the only difference is that for these kennels, because there's no grate, we will put the water on the other side, and that's okay. The water can go on the other side, just so that we can clip it. Again, if you're gonna use the round bowls, then it's a different case. You can put them in here, but for the clip ones, it's okay to be on the other side, just as long as they're clipped on the door. All right, so another, obviously important factor of cleaning is cleaning up after cleaning. So these are dirty and clean bins. They're found in the garage by the laundry. So all you do is you open it. The way that you're gonna tell if it's dirty or clean is the dirty ones literally says dirty on the red tag, and then the clean ones, there is a green tag that we obviously cut off that will say clean. So that way you're not reusing each bucket for dirty and clean laundry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yep. So all of the blankets...
Makes a lot of sense though.
Yeah, yep. So you really want to make sure that you're shaking out the blankets because we don't want to put, treats and stuff in the washer. So we want to make sure that all the blankets kind of get shaken out, and then you can put them right in here.
And what if there was if there's poop on the blanket or the towel or whatever, do you use the poop bag and you take the poop off?
Yeah, so for that, if it's just poop on the blanket, you definitely you can take a poop bag and just scoop it up. If it's really bad and it's spread throughout the blanket, that is okay that you can throw it away. We obviously don't want to put that into our washer with everything else. If it's just a little bit of poop, you can, again, scoop it right up with the poop bags, and that'll be fine. But if it's really bad, we are completely okay with throwing it away. We'd rather it not go in our washer. So we'll not only put laundry in here, but we will put soft toys. So soft toys is, these rope toys are completely fine to go through the washer, so we'll put those in.
I didn't know that either.
Yep.
I'm learning stuff too. I love it.
This obviously is hard, so this is not going to go in the washer. Any of the hard toys, Kongs, balls, anything like that, those will go in the sink in our food prep area.
Where you did the water.
Yep. And for trash, just a little, everybody kind of does the trash a different way, but obviously we have all these treats here that we don't need. If it is, these are rawhides. It looks like he didn't even touch them. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually reuse these for only him. I won't go and give it to another dog. I'll put it back in there so if he wants to chew on it, he can. So I'm gonna put these just aside for right now. A little kind of tip for doing trash is we do have bags that are in food prep where we filled the water underneath. But a lot of times if it's not a ton of trash, I'll just use a poop bag. And I'll just put the trash in the poop bag. Because obviously this isn't a ton of stuff, so I'll just make sure that I have all this in here.
And I know you talked about washing the floor.
Yep.
Would you sweep it first? No, because you've already had it'd already be wet.
Yeah.
Right.
So I usually, obviously,
And again,
when you're kind of in the groove of everything, you kind of just throw like everything either in the trash bin or, you know, obviously the poop bag in this case, and you would just, you know, wash the floor after you do this, because obviously if you're shaking out the blankets, you're gonna re-dirty the floor. So usually the best thing to do is just as you're going, just clean up kind of behind you as you're going. You don't need to leave it all till the end. So when you take out the blankets, you can just shake them, throw them in the dirty bin. If there's only a couple of blankets, you can make a pile on the floor and just carry it out. If you have a lot of dogs in this room, you want to make sure that you're using something that is just easier for you so you don't have to carry all the dirty laundry. But yeah, just kind of clean up as you go, and it's just going to be easier on you as well. And then that way, you know, you can clean the floor after you shake out all the blankets for that section or the whole thing. And then one other thing that is really important is that these balls are gonna just go in the wash. These bones
in the sink.
Yep, in the sink. So these are just gonna go right in the sink to get washed, hand washed. Mm-hmm. These bones, they're nylon bones. So what we can do is we will wash these, but do not put these in bleach because they're just gonna soak up the bleach. Or if there's any bleach residue, you don't want to obviously give a dog something that's been bleached, especially that they're gonna chew on. So that's just one big thing that we really want to make sure they're not chewing on bleach.
I mean that's good to know, because when people here take the toys out, take the hard toys out, throw it in the wash, and we haven't covered it yet, but everything gets washed, rinsed, and bleached.
Yep.
But not the nylon bones.
Yeah, yep. And there are signs on the sink that, like behind the sink, that just say, please do not wash bones. Bleach bones, I should say. You definitely want to wash them. Again, if there's a bone like this that has like poop on it, it happens, especially with puppies, throw it away. We do not need to wash it. We're not gonna wash it and give it to another dog. There's just no point of that. So it is okay to throw away toys if they are obviously destroyed, or if they are just so disgusting that there's just no point. We have a bunch of toys. There's no point of reusing something that is really gross. So we will go ahead and throw this away if this does have poop on it, or it's just, if a dog chewed on it fully and it's just gross, you're not gonna give it to another dog.
Yeah, and it's like if it had poop on it, and you, like you said, even if you wash and you give it to another dog, it's poop.
Yeah, it's gross. Nobody wants a poop toy. Nobody wants a poop toy.
I don't.
No.
I say no to the poop toys.
Exactly. So so all these hard toys are goes in the sink and food prep, and the laundry goes right back out to the garage, right in front of the washer and dryer, and then the trash, we have a trash bin in food prep as well. And the bones, like I said, I was just going to give these back to him, so I'll just open this up real quick and throw these in there. So when he comes back from the groomer, he does have the option to chew those if he wants.
And like Katie said, she demonstrated how to clean the first kennel, but there are 2 dogs in here and there are 3 kennels, so you would clean the
Each
other
kennel.
2 exactly the same way you clean the first one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's once you kind of get into the groove of things, it doesn't take a long time at all, especially, we usually have more than one person here helping, and we do have staff here every single day, so the staff is also always more than happy to help out, whether or not it's cleaning or walking the dogs. If you do need help, please just ask us, and we have no issue with that at all. So just to kind of finish up here, that is how you clean a dog kennel. Again, it's really important just to ask staff if you guys do have any questions or concerns. We're always more than happy to help you, especially when you first start. It's a lot of information, so definitely utilize the staff. And that is basically how you clean the dog kennels, and we're happy to have you here. Thank you for volunteering.
Well, thank you, Katie.
Thank you.